My name is Jay Sugarman, and I want to welcome you to Innovation Showcase. The main purpose of this ongoing series is to inform viewers about exciting innovations and creative individuals across the fields of business, science, technology, education, and the arts. Today via Zoom, we're fortunate to have as our guests Jasper Sanchez, Alison Croney Moses, Andy Lee, and Evelyn Rydz, all of whom are associated with the Boston Public Art Triennial and with the organization's 2025 initiative taking place from May to October. This inaugural undertaking will present 15 compelling public art commissions across the city of Boston. Jasper serves as the Assistant Curator for the Triennial, and Alison, Andy, and Evelyn are three of the highly accomplished artists whose artwork will be on view. During the program, we're learning why and how the Boston Public Art Triennial came about and how it's grown, developed, and operates today. Most noticeably, we'll be hearing about the Public Accelerator program that Alison, Andy, and Evelyn are participating in now. In the process, we'll come to better understand and appreciate their talents and contributions, as well as be reminded of the importance and value of having public art in our communities. Let's start by meeting our guests. Welcome. So delighted you're all able to be here.
Hello, Jay. It's wonderful to be here. Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Very excited about the upcoming triennial and all that's been leading up to the May, October extravaganza, and have you inform viewers. But before we jump right to that, Jasper, I think it would be of interest to hear a little bit about the history and mission of the triennial, please.
Absolutely. So, my name is Jasper Sanchez. I'm the assistant curator with our organization. And we actually began in 2015 as Now and There, a nonprofit public art curator that has had the mission over the years to foster relationships between artists and the public to create bold public art experiences. Our hope with the power of public art is to change the perception of the city of Boston. And we believe that public art experiences can open minds, conversations, and spaces, resulting in Boston being more open, equitable, and vibrant overall. Over the years, since our organization was founded by Kate Gilbert, our executive director, we've had 55 projects in over 30 locations. We've worked with over 75 artists, and we're really proud to say that every single one of our installations and events have always been free and open to the public. And so you've caught us at an exciting moment because 2025 will actually be our 10-year anniversary in celebrating all of that momentum.
And I know one of the aspects that we've had the good fortune to feature in the past has been the Lot Lab. Would you please share a little bit about this component?
Absolutely. So as I had mentioned, we started in 2015 and we were curating public art projects that have come up all over the city. We've had projects in the Boston Common, in Faneuil Hall, in Grove Hall, around the downtown area, and in certain neighborhoods. And over the years, often what we do is evaluate our programs, our initiatives, our impact, and really think about if we're reaching our mission. And we decided to shift our curatorial model into Lot Lab, an annual exhibition that turns an underused or vacant lot somewhere in the city of Boston into a space for art and community. And the intention there is to come back to the same neighborhood for a minimum of 3 years and continue to engage with its community members, its neighbors, and have what I have found to be a creative archaeology almost, really dig into that place's history and geography, and be able to invite multiple artists over the years to engage with it. That's what a lot of it is.
Most definitely, which leads to the Public Accelerator program. What inspired this and what's involved?
Absolutely. So I just shared a little bit about Lot Lab, one of our core programs. And the other program that you're mentioning is our Public Art Accelerator. The Public Art Accelerator was actually founded a bit after we opened. It was launched in 2018. And it was actually inspired by some frustrations we had. Our director and our team realized that the public art system was a bit of a closed loop system. You sort of have to know how to make public art or have done it before to get commissions and to get the opportunity to make more public art. And so we conceptualized, or Kate Gilbert, our director, the architect of the program, conceptualized it as a way, and in her own words, to give the key to making public art to local artists, to use our network, our resources, our experience to help artists navigate the city of Boston, permitting processes, what it's like to work with external fabricators and engineers to produce public art. How do you even budget or project manage a project of this scale? But it also offers, I think, some skills and sensibilities training and resources on the artistic or curatorial side. So there's mentorship in the cohort with the artists that they have with one another, and also with curatorial supporters and members in our team and from around the city that help. So really the accelerator is just a way of showing local artists and giving them the resources and support they need to make more public art in the city of Boston. And our hope is that over the years, more and more local artists come through this accelerator program, and there's more and more public art popping up around the city of Boston.
You mentioned the mentorship and resources. We're fortunate to have some terrific images of you, Allison, Andy, and Evelyn participating in the program. As we go through them, would you highlight some of the aspects of what's been happening so far with the Accelerator program?
Absolutely. So the accelerator program occurs typically every fall. It ranges, it's anywhere between 12 to 14 weeks, depending on the program and the calendar cycle. And we meet every Wednesday. So what you're seeing is us in our classroom setting. And every Wednesday, the cohort would come in to meet with me. And I'll mention Amor Diaz Campos, the photographer of this event, our incredible curatorial fellow who really supported this program. And we have workshops that talk about some of the nitty gritty, right? It can be things ranging, as I mentioned, from logistics, budgets, project management, to more artistic conversations. So what you're seeing in this image is a studio visit we did with Allison in her studio in Alston. So we invite the artists to go to each other's studios and to learn a bit about each other's practice more intimately. Because we found that that really helps further down the line when we're in crit group style sessions where we're giving feedback to each other's developing ideas, that by knowing each other's work a little more, we can better respond and are better equipped to support each other's work. In this image, we're in Andy Lee's studio at the Distillery Gallery. So he's showing us and telling us a bit about his textile-based practice as well.
Nice.
And in this one, I think it's worth noting the curriculum, other than logistics and curatorial support or conversations, there's also lots of field trips. So this is us at Lot Lab in the Navy Yard. In the background is Ife Franklin's projects from Lot Lab 2024. Ife joined your show last year. We had a wonderful conversation. And we've also had tours and visits around the Charlestown neighborhood with representatives from the National Park Service. And we even joined our friends outside of the Charlestown neighborhood on the Greenway Conservancy to learn a little bit from Adam Torres, their public art project manager, about their public art program. So our hope isn't just to provide a snapshot of the public art work that we're doing as an organization, but also the incredible work that other organizations are doing and what the public art, I think, ecosystem of Boston is shaping up to be.
Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you for that background. Moving on, Allison, welcome. So delighted to be able to be here.
Thanks for having me. This is wonderful, and a walk through memory lane looking at those photos.
Before we see a little bit about your work, I think it would be of interest to briefly hear a little bit about your background and your artistic interest, and then we can share some of your work.
Sure, yeah. So I am originally from North Carolina. Went to school at Rhode Island School of Design and studied furniture design. And I had a wandering path to get to Boston. And what drew me to Boston was first, my now husband was at MIT, but I secured a job at the Elliott School of Fine and Applied Arts, teaching woodworking to kids. And I spent about 10, almost 11 years there, kind of growing through the ranks, and ended my tenure there in 2023 as the associate director. And I still occasionally teach. I actually have brought woodworking to my kids' school. I'm at my kids' school today, so if you hear loud noises, that's where I'm at. And so that's kind of my background. And so I'm coming to this project with my woodworking training, and definitely kind of have nurtured an art practice over the years. But I also bring my administrative kind of nonprofit leadership brain to it as well. And the community engagement component of always thinking about how access points for all ages, all identity groups. So that's kind of my background that brought me to this particular moment.
And we're fortunate to have some images of your work, and wonder if you could say a few words as we scroll through them.
Sure. So my work, I'm, like I said, trained as a furniture maker. So I use a lot of traditional furniture techniques to make sculptures. I don't make much functional work anymore. I barely did it when I was in school. And so a lot of curved vessel-like forms, really thinking about what is a vessel, like what embodies a vessel? What does that mean for us? A lot of connections to motherhood, and specifically looking through my lens of being a Black woman, Black motherhood and Black joy and Black girlhood joy. So those are some themes that have showed up in my work. And you can see in the images, I'm doing a lot of bent lamination, curved forms, shaping. This piece is my belly, and it's in the Designing Motherhood exhibit that has traveled internationally at this point, and is currently at the the Houston Center for Contemporary Craft. So those are the themes and some of the techniques that are coming through in my images of my work. This piece is called Sisters, and it's I bent wood not through lamination, but bent it with a bending iron, and started thinking about wood as the body, and how do we investigate relationships through these kind of conceptual pieces. And so I'm excited that I have explored this process in particular here. And it'll show up in my show that's currently on exhibit in Los Angeles at the Abigail Ogilvy Gallery.
Oh, fabulous, fabulous. What attracted you to the accelerator program?
So, I really struggled with whether I should apply. I'm just going to be honest. Like, there's a lot of opportunities in Boston. I feel particularly lucky to be in Boston in the art scene, because I think there's many opportunities for artists. This opportunity, I thought that it could be really beneficial for my art career and really take it to the next level, to be able, like that, what they talk about of an entry point into public art. So it's kind of hard to get into that industry or that aspect of the industry. And I know I don't have that background. I'm very confident in my production and fabrication skills on a smaller scale. But I was looking for an opportunity to do public art with a support system, to be able to kind of learn some of the do's and don'ts of the industry, and to be able to kind of be able to then have proof that I can continue to do this and grow.
What's your involvement been so far?
So we did I think it started the first week in September. We met every Wednesday as a cohort. So Jasper was there and all three artists, and then Anna Moore was there, and they brought experts in really to tackle different aspects of the public art process. And so the experience, I would say, it reminded me of being back in school, like in college, in a group project, but also a group project where we weren't relying on each other for the final product as directly, but we could take ownership of our final product, but the learning and collaboration was still a component of it. We had deadlines. It felt like really intense at times, similar to that school feel. And then that relief at the end where you're like, okay, I've honed my design. It was reviewed, I got feedback, and now we're ready for production. So that's, that kind of broad strokes, and I'm sure Andy and Evelyn will share more about it, but that's kind of been the overall experience of it. Like, it felt like I really did feel like I'm in an accelerator because it's fast, and it felt like I was back in a collaborative learning environment, which I'm really appreciative of.
Could you just briefly share a little bit about the project that you'll be working on?
Sure. Well, we're not going to share too much because we want people to see it in person. May 22nd, I think, is the public opening.
Yeah.
Um, So the piece that I'm working on is a large scale sculpture, I'll call it, that a lot of my work, I want people to be drawn into it, to want to touch it and interact with it. I'm hoping to capture that at a large scale. Like I said earlier, a lot of my work really explores this topic of joy and Black motherhood in that context. So I've worked with those themes. I'm going to do a little bit of community collaboration, and I'm really thinking about how do I bring people specifically to the Lot Lab that want to get pulled into interacting with the piece and think about joyful experiences for themselves. So that's the kind of in the context of my work without saying too much. Those are the themes and what hopefully people will see and react to when they walk through the Lot Lab.
Oh, most definitely. Looking forward to it, May 22nd for sure. Thank you, Allison.
Thank you.
Andy, welcome. Delighted to be
Hey,
able to be here. Would you please start with a little bit about your background and artistic interest, please?
yeah. So my name is Andy Lee. I'm from Boston, born and raised, born in Dorchester, raised in West Roxbury, and I went to Mass Art. I graduated Mass Art in 2012. I had a dual major in film, video, and fibers. So that was a wild mixture of a time. Right now I primarily work with textiles. I say I'm mostly a text-based textile artist. Um, and I use just a lot of emotions and try to find the best ways to be in the moment. That's what's really inspiring me to just make work.
Well, we're also fortunate to have some wonderful examples of your work. Would you
Yeah.
add a little commentary of what we're seeing, please?
Yeah, so a lot of what my work is about is trying to kind of build a picture from the inside out. Um, I think that I believe that art has the ability to bridge together human experiences, and I try to use empathy, humor, and self-reflection to be able to ask each other the question, "Do you feel how I feel?" So if you read this statement and I read this statement, we might not have the same. It could be the same end point for us, but we got there on different journeys. Um, and so this is just very much like I'm here right now, and it's just be as present as possible. And I appreciate that you're here with me.
Nice, nice.
And then this one's a little bit more like, uh-oh, now I have to follow through. Like, oh, I set expectations for myself. And now I'm here to show up. And I'm
That's
gonna do it.
great.
You know what? Now I have to do it. It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen.
I know accountability can be terrible, can't
Yeah.
it?
It's all mental.
And one more banner here.
Yeah. And you are a symphony of everything I could ever want or imagine. I love for me is such a strong emotion. It is a lot of my themes go back to love, and it's a big driving force. And um, I never thought of my work as poetry, but I believe that there's a certain poetic force that comes out when you kind of when you have to break words down into different shapes and like moments, it becomes on its own poem, and everyone wants to feel special, and they want to feel like when I see you, there's this loud noise of emotions inside, and I wanted to have that feeling come through this piece.
No, I think the poetry also comes through with your spacing and the way you present your work for sure.
Yeah, it's a lot of boundaries. I have to set boundaries because I can ramble on. So I had to make a shape where I had to force myself to a point.
And just a quick word of this setting and what was involved here.
Yeah, so in 2020, I was commissioned by the Rose Kennedy Greenway to make a piece for the Year of the Ox as part of their ongoing Zodiac Animal series. And it was honestly like the first time I was asked to do something public and on a large scale. And it was, we were in lockdown, we were quarantining, and I was just trying to figure out a way, how do I represent the ox? How to represent a zodiac animal and an idea in a time when there's so much hesitation, there's so much doubt, there's so much things that's uncertainty that was going on. And I wanted to find ways that were uplifting. And so after researching the ox as as the zodiac animal, as a zodiac sign, I was like, this is very much the ox is very much driven, and it wants to be shown by its work and its community. And I went with the herd because they travel in herds, but also with herd immunity. And I was working with bilingual. It was in Chinese and English, and I wanted to create a space that was serene and calm, in the middle of the city, that had its own. Even if you didn't read them, they still looked pretty in your peripherals.
Nice, nice.
Mm-hmm.
And moving on to your work now, what attracted you to the accelerator program?
Yeah, I mean, I think that a lot of it came from, I was really wanted to get back outside. I was doubting myself in a lot of ways in work, and questioning, um, you know, how many words do I have left in me? How many ways, like, like, as someone that works with text, it's like, how many combinations can I do? And I always thought about, I should do the accelerator. I should apply for it. It always comes up in my emails. I'm in the newsletter, and I'm really bad at just following through. So this is the first, now I'm going to be following through with it. Uh, I went for it, and actually Jasper emailed me being I was actually nominated by another curator, and I was like, you know what? This is my reminder. This is maybe the universe and Jasper and everyone in there being like, hey, go for it. The worst thing is you don't get it. You miss 100% of the shots you don't take, right? And it's so
Nice.
very much that way.
In just 30 seconds or so, could we have a sneak peek, a sneak hearing of what you're working on?
Yeah. Well, it's a way of honoring yourself and others and all of what you do in a day. No matter how big or small, it's worth celebrating. And so I want to create a moment of celebration.
Okay, well, looking forward to celebrating with you shortly. Thank you,
too.
Andy.
Thank you.
Evelyn, welcome. Delighted you're able to be here. Before we see some of your work, a few words about your background and your artistic interests, please.
Sure, thank you. I'm happy to be here with you all. My name's Evelyn. I moved to Boston in 2002 from Miami. I came for graduate school at the School of Museum of Fine Arts at Tufts. And since then, I've been engaged in art and community practice and education. I work across many different ways and disciplines. So I create drawings, site-responsive installations, and community projects. And I teach at Massachusetts College of Art and Design, where I often teach courses like drawing, interdisciplinary studio, and co-teach classes like creating community. So I've been here for a while now, over 20 years in cold Boston.
For sure. We're fortunate to have some terrific examples of your work as well. Would you add a little background to what we're enjoying?
Sure. This is a detail of a large-scale watercolor gouache and saltwater painting on paper. And it's made from stills of photographs I take while I was kayaking out, in this case, on the Merrimack River. My work has been focused on our relationships to water, complex and embodied relationships to water, from our daily reliance to threats and impacts to deep reverence. And these images are using open signs that are often in front of sites of commerce to direct our attention to them. They're sort of redirecting attention to the water as an unseen site of commerce. So I kayaked with these out on rivers to the mouth of rivers as they enter global waterways, and then photographed these long sort of 50-foot banner I stitched behind me as I kayaked, and then made some paintings, which is what you're seeing, of some of those being repositioned in the water. So the water often is both the subject, but also a material I use to paint with, and a drawing tool, as well as it repositions images like this one.
Oh, fascinating. So much more interested to hear about, but want to move on to a whole different type of display here.
Yeah, this is an installation I created in 2023 for the Radcliffe Institute in an exhibition called Water Stories by curated by Gina Kim. And what you're seeing is a patchwork of photographs I took over 10 years of surface water from rivers to oceans across the Americas, from here in the Boston area to Miami, where I grew up, to Cuba and Colombia, where my parents were born, and they're stitched together. They're kind of ripped and patchwork together. So all these individual, unique ecosystems become part of one single individual connected water body.
Exquisite. The colors are amazing. Thank you. What attracted you to the Accelerator program, Evelyn?
Well, like Andy said, I was also nominated, and I was really excited to apply because I love to learn. I love to be a student. I think it's really important to both my practice as an artist, but also as an educator. It's part of my responsibility, I feel like, to be an ongoing student. And so it just felt like an opportunity to keep expanding the kind of work I was already invested in. And I have learned a lot through the experience with my friends and colleagues here on the screen and through the whole program.
No, it sounds like an incredible opportunity, and that the three of you are taking full advantage of it. And the program is fortunate to have you as well. Evelyn, before we move on to Jasper and wind up, just a little tidbit about your project.
Sure. So one of the things I was really excited about in this site is that it is a location where local water bodies that often are imagined as individual or isolated, like the Mystic and the Charles River, meet and merge before they enter global waterways. Right there in the Inner Harbor, our work will be sited on the Charlestown Navy Yard on the Lot Lab,
Yeah.
which is part of the National Park Service. I'm collaborating for my project with the Climate Conservation Corps, and together we'll be selecting plants. My project will have a living element, which will include native climate resilient plants as a way to kind of map the site and bring up questions of preservation and what we care to hold and preserve into the future.
Oh, looking forward to it very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Jasper, in closing, in the minute or so we have left, no, we can't even touch the surface of everything else that's going to be involved. 15 plus incredible commissions. Can you just give us an overview of what we can look forward to?
Absolutely. So May 22nd through October 31st of 2025, you can find 18 commissioned, excellent, always free, temporary, and maybe permanent public artworks all over the city of Boston. Sculptures, interactive exhibits, and performances with community-initiated events, neighborhood activation weekends located across locations ranging from downtown to East Boston, Dorchester, Roxbury, Mattapan, and Charlestown. We're in partnership with citywide organizations, museums like MassArt, the MFA, the ICA, as well as incredible social service organizations like Break Time, and as you've heard today, the National Park Service in Charlestown. I'll take my final moment to really hint at the three artists that are here today and what you can expect to find at Lot Lab in Charlestown. I've found hearing from Alison, Andy, and Evelyn that all three of us, I will say, at Lot Lab are helping us see the wholeness that we need as a society and community to thrive and survive. Whether it's Alison bringing attention to the importance of Black joy and especially the role Black mothers serve in our society, whether it's Andy inviting us to celebrate the everyday and make the ordinary extraordinary, or whether it's Evelyn inviting us to pause and deliberate our role in relationship to water. I think the three of them are really tying together beautiful threads about what it means to be together in the city of Boston and as a community.
Oh, so exciting. Really can't wait for May 22nd for the warmer weather, but even more so for these incredible commissions and public art displays that are just going to be swarming the whole city. Extremely exciting. And hope you'll come back, Jasper. Maybe we can talk about some others in the future. But for now, want to wish all of you continued success with your current endeavors. Look forward to seeing these projects that you kindly gave us a little insight to, and want to thank you again for all your time.
Thank you, Jay. Have a great day.
Thank you so much, Jay.
Thanks, Jay.
Also want to thank you for watching and hope you'll be able to tune in next time.